Hi, I'm JoJo. I'm a life coach and energy healer.
And I'm Jim. I'm a zoologist and explorer. Welcome to Wild Wisdom, Sacred Nature.
And I think we're safely 6
Oh, yeah.
feet apart.
We're good.
We
all
can
right?
take our masks off.
There
We're
we go.
outside, social distancing. And we are here in the middle of this beautiful field on this beautiful day to talk about butterfly and get some sacred nature, wild wisdom, and see what we can learn about butterflies.
Yeah, and
for
there's so much to learn, JoJo, because they're amazing animals.
The number one thing
Right?
that I think about with butterfly is its amazing transformation from an egg to a larva, caterpillar, to a winged being, flying, going from a creepy crawly to flying and its transformation. So can we talk about that?
Absolutely. In fact, this life transformation, known as metamorphosis, has amazed people down through the ages. For thousands of years, people have been talking about this, and it blows them away, how an animal can change so radically to fit into their role at different times throughout their lifespan.
They go into a cocoon or chrysalis. What's the difference?
Well, cocoon is really a generic term, but chrysalis, for a butterfly, chrysalis is spot on. It's the right term.
Wonderful. So there goes the wind, there goes my mask. So beginning to me as an energy healer, looking at butterfly as making great change and transforming what I am to what I want to become. So that's where I take the metamorphosis to be on a spiritual, but also on a real level, because for me, things start in the imagination and then become manifest in the real, in the body. The other amazing thing I think about is the story of butterfly. It's so delicate and fragile and light, but it travels and travels from one continent to another. Can you give us any zoologist, any animal explorer light about how does it do that?
Absolutely. So in this case, if we're talking about the monarch, now the monarch is a butterfly that we've actually had in this very meadow, right? We know that because they love milkweed. And monarchs are a species that many people are familiar with. They're beautiful, black, orange, white, and spotted with this beautiful patterning. Monarchs are an animal that they were very, very common not too long ago. And now their numbers have dropped because all monarchs migrate. And we're going to talk about this in excruciating detail. Now, I won't do that to you. I won't do that to you guys either. But
I could talk about butterflies all day.
They migrate to one particular spot in north central Mexico in the mountains and in this oak forest, and that's where millions upon millions of monarchs will congregate. But monarchs live throughout all of the U.S., northern Mexico, all the way up into southern Canada.
And they travel from there, from where again?
From southern Canada all the way down through, or actually mid and southern Canada, all the way down through the northern tier of the U.S. states, all the way down to north central Mexico.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And one butterfly makes that journey, and does it do many journeys, or how does that work?
It's a really good question, because most people, most non-entomologists, the women and men that study insects, they know it, but very few people know this, that monarchs, no one animal makes the entire journey, and that's why I love them so much. That's why I think they're just amazing creatures, because no one animal does all this incredible work, this work of migration, because migration's traveling thousands of miles is no easy task, but they do it in generations, so that one generation of monarch will live for a few months, and then they will sadly pass away, but that's nature.
Lay eggs.
They'll lay eggs.
The transformation happens. The caterpillar, the hungry caterpillar,
Right,
grows
right,
and
right.
makes the chrysalis.
And then those animals emerge, and then they feed in the surrounding area, and then they lay their eggs, and then the next generation occurs, and as these generations mature and move progressively southward, they work their way, the final generation works their way into the mountains of Mexico.
Wow.
And then they start the whole process, they jumpstart it all over again.
And do they Well, for me, it's the chrysalis stage, the cocooning. That's where the complete transformation happens.
Correct.
And the idea is energetically, spiritually, to need to go into a cocoon or a cave or a safe place is really what's needed before you can emerge. Another thing that I've read about, there's also a lot of in the spiritual terms and yoga classes talking about butterfly, is that the butterfly needs to crawl and bite and work its butt off to get out of the cocoon that it's transformed into, and if you help it along, that it won't have the strength to actually open its wings and be a strong, butterfly that travels. And so for me, there's that cocooning stage, what I'm getting from this creature. The cocooning stage is so important to make the transformation. And then there's the work, the challenge of working hard, building up your strong muscles so you can open your wings and become light and able to fly, like able to become, have a new behavior, really, because they go from caterpillar on the ground. And do butterflies eat different things than caterpillars?
Well,
Do you know?
yes, they do. Caterpillars mostly eat leaf matter, eat the foliage, the leaves, and butterflies will drink the nectar from the flowers. So butterflies have this long tube-like tongue called a proboscis, and actually, in the case of a monarch in particular, it curls up into this very long tongue, which actually is depending on the species, can be longer than the body of the butterfly.
Wow! And
it curls up into this circular, retractable tongue that almost looks like a coiled garden hose. And when it goes up to the right flower, it will unfurl that proboscis and probe it down into the flower and drink the nectar, which is energy rich.
And nectar is like the tincture or the most important thing.
Right. The drink of the gods is nectar.
The drink of the gods.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
So using another thing, I think about its fragileness and how does it even navigate with the wind, and it has predators, I assume?
They do. Now, monarchs in particular, many butterflies have predators on the wing, including other insects, from dragonflies, praying mantises, other insects will target them. But butterflies are not defenseless, because many species, including the monarch that we keep coming back to because they're native and they're really cool.
One of the ones
that's
I
a scientific
can identify
term,
too.
right?
Yeah.
That's a scientific term, really cool, right?
Yeah.
But they are really cool, in my opinion. Monarchs have this incredible warning coloration, and we call it aposematic coloring. And aposematic means it's bright, it's eye-catching, you can't miss it. And when that happens, when the butterfly unfurls its wings, especially in bright sunlight, potential predators look at that and they see it, but it's the butterfly's warning saying, you can try to nibble on me, you can try to make a meal out of me, but guess what? I taste horrible, you can get sick, I am toxic. I'm actually poisonous, don't think about it.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, so it actually can save the life, not of the individual butterfly necessarily, but once a predator gets a bad taste of a toxic butterfly in their mouth, they're never going to make that same mistake twice. So you might lose the occasional butterfly here or there, but it protects the whole population.
Wow, well, that's interesting. So I love that they're colorful because
Yes.
they're so beautiful. I love that they're light and they're strong. That their bright boldness to me is a sign for me to be confident, to shine, and to show your colors. Kind of.
Oh, absolutely.
So to speak.
And I want to mention too, Jojo, you mentioned the strength of the butterflies, which to me is something that most people don't even think about. But if you think about an animal that seems so fragile, that with a little help from its relatives can traverse thousands of miles over deserts and mountains and giant bodies of water, that's incredible. But also when you think about that outside skeleton, that exoskeleton they possess, it's actually, I would say ounce for ounce, but they don't even weigh an ounce. They weigh just a few grams or fractions of a gram depending on the species.
Wow.
But for weight, for the weight of the butterfly exoskeleton, it's actually stronger than steel.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
So how you say, look at this. It not only transforms, it's beautiful, it can do all these incredible things, and it's stronger than steel.
I
think
love
that's pretty
that.
cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So an exoskeleton on the outside, thinking about, for me, again, always trying to
Right,
turn
right.
everything, how can I use this to be able to be, in this case, more bold and more colorful and more kind of expressive and out there, exposed, but safe. I've got this totem animal for this strong exoskeleton, which is this powerful strength around me
Right.
to protect me, and a warning signal to everything that don't even mess with me because I'm poisonous and yucky tasting. So
Right. And you make a bold fashion statement everywhere you go.
There
right?
you
So it's
go.
like, what more could we ask of an animal, right?
yes, it's
pretty cool.
wonderful. The and we need something. I need something. So I assume a lot of people probably do, is to help us be light on the inside
Right.
and strong on the outside, because it's our life. We don't need to walk around every day carrying heavy armor in here.
Right.
And being expressive and bold of who you really are, that just feels really good.
And one of the things I love about, I'm sorry, you were
Oh
going to
yeah,
say
no,
something.
go. You go.
I was just going to say, you inspired me to jump in with a thought there, which is based on what you were saying, that with butterflies, there's so much more than meets the eye. You know, we think we know them, and then the more we learn about them, we say, wait, there's even more about this animal that's amazing, and they are light, and they are strong, and they are fearless. And you know, it goes against the way I think most people would consider this animal.
Yeah, I agree. I love the idea of being able to be fearless and light.
Yes.
Another thought about you said something, and now I can't remember exactly how you said it, but what sparked for me was the idea of carrying forth for the next generation.
Yes.
So they do this for the next generation, and like some of them get eaten, but
Some do.
But the enemy learns its lesson, or the predator.
Right.
Doing something for the next generation, like the goal is maybe to travel across the sea or across the country, and they're not going to make it, but their children or offspring will. And as we do things, knowing that someone did it for us because we're here, and we're doing things forward for the next generation. So that idea of handing the torch, and then we make the journey eventually as a
Right.
species. So it's kind of like the mask wearing. Where's my mask? I think I dropped it. Doing something that's a bit of a sacrifice, but for the greater good. We don't know everything, and we're trying our best. And I like that. Butterfly doesn't know who's going to make it and who's not, but it's for the greater good. So that feels really good on a species level.
It does for me too, and you're the expert when it comes to energy and healing and that introspection, and also looking outward. In my perspective, right? From my perspective, or in my opinion, I would say that the whole notion of doing your part and doing everything you can do to the best of your ability, but knowing that there's more to this world than just me or just the individual, more than there's the we, not the I, right? And that to me is amazing. And the fact that this animal that weighs almost nothing, can traverse deserts and mountains and continents, not just by itself, but through this teamwork, this effort from generation to generation, it blows me away.
And they do appear to be individuals.
Yes.
As they don't live in anthills or in prairie dog
Right.
colonies, or the another thing I'm thinking of is the word, oh, I know, that I was
Go for
thinking
it.
before
Go
that you
for it.
reminded me of, monarch. The word
Yes.
monarch, thinking about it as a monarch and a crowned, someone who is the monarch and the queen, the king, crowned, being a leader to many.
Yes.
So maybe that's part of, I don't know if anybody
No,
thought of that.
I like that. I like that. In fact, my thing when it comes to the monarch, and I might have mentioned this to you before off camera, but for me, if the king or queen speaks, it pays to listen. And when an animal like this has lessons to share, we can gain a lot by just looking and listening. So to me, that really holds true.
We had a celebrity walk
Yes,
through.
we had a special guest star come
Yes.
on through. Piggy,
Piggy.
there you go. Okay,
Piggy or
off he
Jack
goes.
Russell. My Jack Russell. So, talking about the crown, the antenna, like at the
Right.
crown of the head. So in the body, we have energy centers. In yoga, we talk about them a lot. If you do yoga, you've probably heard the term chakra. But energy centers from the head, to the eyes, to the throat, to the heart, to the belly, down to our feet is
Right.
where we take action, the more grounded, practical things. But the energy at the head, where the butterfly has got this antenna. How does a butterfly, I sort of think I know, but how does a butterfly use the antenna?
Sure. Well, butterflies use the antennae primarily. Some species use them for feeling, they're tactile, but mostly, and this for all insects, they can either be tactile, touching, help them to navigate their world through touch, but for the vast majority of insects, and for butterflies in particular, the antennae are basically their olfactory organs. So essentially, it's like an extendable paired nose, right? Or super nostrils, right? And
Okay.
they can smell their way around and find plants, and depending on the species, they can find each other.
Oh, wow, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that there's sort of that smell, you know if something's healthy or not by its smell, or if it's yucky or decaying or not, not edible or not. But and do they use the antenna to navigate, to travel? Like, do you know how they know where to go? Is it just one of those mysteries of the butterfly?
Well, I'll tell you what I know, but I'm not a butterfly. I'm not an entomologist. I'm not a butterfly biologist. I know these guys.
We could call
but
them.
not as well. We need to call our friends the entomologists, right? But I'll tell you what I know when it comes to olfaction or the sense of smell. Butterflies will use their sense of smell to find forage, to find the food that they're seeking, but also their sense of sight. You see, one thing we really haven't talked about so much is their incredible sensory ability. They've got this incredible sensory array. So a butterfly has these compound eyes, and if people are familiar with maybe a fly or a praying mantis, they've got these big, sometimes we refer to them as bug eyes, giant curved lenses on the world. And butterflies have ommatidia, and ommatidia or omatia are these little facets on the eyes, and they can have thousands of them. So they can not only see little almost pixelated versions of their world, but they can see in great color spectrum. So they can see colors that we can't even see. So they navigate by sense of sight and by sense of smell. So if there's a particularly tasty flower down there, they're going to smell it and they're going to find it.
So to me, I'm always fascinated when an animal or creature has an extra sense that we don't. So I can only imagine how a butterfly must look to another butterfly. It's probably kaleidoscope or just even more beautiful. The antenna also being, for me, thinking about even, the old-fashioned television antennas from the whatever in the day before satellite dishes, navigating your way and your choices, so intuiting. So in decision making and intuiting, I think of creatures with antenna is using more of this, grabbing information out of the ether and then deciding, this is what I want, this is where I'm going to go. So another idea might be an invitation to let everybody kind of open our sixth chakra, which is the space in between our eyes, and do a little meditation.
I'm up for it. Let's do it.
On all this content we've sort of just taken in about butterfly. So get settled in a comfortable seat. Spine tall, relax. And it's important to try to relax so we can start to take in energy that is around us. If you like, start to breathe a little deeper and relax your gaze, looking down, or just soften your eyes. Because what the mind sees, the body believes. So we want to open our imaginations. So breathing really deeply, filling the lungs, expanding the lungs, light like butterfly wing, letting the exhale relax you more. Again, softening the gaze, releasing tension on each exhale. Feel the muscles relax. Relax your hands. Relax your jaw. Relax your shoulders. Maybe shrug the shoulders up, back, and down. Feel the back body be strong and soft. Open your heart. Open your mind. Imagine a butterfly coming to you in your imagination, noticing its color, its markings, its brightness, its boldness. It reminds us that our nature is to express ourselves confidently and boldly, to be our true self. May butterfly awaken your creativity even more. Help us completely transform what we have been and what we can be. Help us carry the torch of the things that we care about into the future for ourselves and for our children and for our species. Help us be soft on the inside and strong around us, like a steel exoskeleton, keeping us safe from harm. Helping us hold light and joy in our hearts. And bring your awareness to the crown of your head, if you were wearing a crown like a monarch, leading the way, leading yourself and leading others, and using your intuition like butterfly, with your own antenna reaching gracefully skyward. And gently bring your hands to touch right in front of your heart in prayer pose, and just rub your hands a little. And gently flutter your eyes open. Thank you. Thank you, butterfly. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jim.
It was fun.
Feel more relaxed? Okay. On about our day. Thank you. Thanks, Phil.
Taking care of yourself, you're taking care of the children, the next generation, and then you're taking care of the species.